Hi everybody and welcome. Thanks for joining us for our Conga Alliance Partner Showcase webinar. The purpose of these webinars is to introduce our customers to the consulting partners that we work with on a regular basis and to give you the opportunity to get to know a little bit more about their practice and the services that they offer just beyond the Conga implementations. Today we will showcase Statera and SalesPath. Each presenter will take about 15 minutes to present, and then we'll have a little time at the end to answer any of the questions that you may have. This webinar is being recorded and posted to our website should you care to review or share it with your colleagues. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Daniel Kahn with Statera.
Hi everybody, my name is Daniel Kahn. I am the Channel Sales Manager. I manage all of our partners at Statera, including our Salesforce partners, Conga being one of them. Today I will showcase a North American manufacturer who we've done a very large scale implementation around Salesforce, Conga, and some integration as well. So Allison, if you want to move to the next slide. So this was we're based in Denver, Colorado. We're a full service IT firm focusing around business transformation and Salesforce.com. I'll go into a little bit of that later, but a local client here, they do a lot of roofing and manufacturing of insulation. So they had a large need to migrate existing Salesforce orgs from 2 to 1, and then they also needed to do a lot of integrations with their back-end system being SAP. This was about a 6-month project, and we ended up doing 2 migrations of Enterprise Sales Cloud into 1, and then did a lot of, like I said, integrations on the back end with the SAP ERP that they had. Legacy data, deduplication, and then additionally we had Conga play a role in their accounting and contracting and service contracts. So if you want to go to the next slide, Allison, I'd like to talk a little bit more about how they use Conga. So to start, this manufacturer started with accounts payable. They used Composer to create an actual invoice template, and would use Courier to form a PDF and then send in accounts payable to the accounts payable team. For service contracts, they use Composer to create a guarantee output, as well as formatting output PDFs. All of these were used to both internally and externally. And externally, certificates of completion. So they do a lot of business with Lowe's, and a Lowe's contractor would get a job, and they would use the Conga template to create a certificate of completion. And Courier would be used to send that out. So, and then on the sales side, they use Composer to generate quotes and Courier to send them out to customers and prospects. Additional templates were also used for this project: customer profiles, contractor statements, pulling together data from multiple objects. So both on the sales side and on the accounts payable side and on the partner side, Conga was very important in this project so that they could reach out to both internal and external departments. As far as Statera goes, if you want to move to the next slide. So who are we? We are a full-service IT firm based in Denver, Colorado. We have offices in the Southeast and throughout the West, which I will go into a little bit more in detail. But we've been around since 2001. We're about 230 consultants. Statera means balance in Latin, and we use the balance methodology just as equally with people and process as much as we do with our technology and our solutions that we provide to transform our the businesses that we serve. we've recent recognition. We're one of the top software developers in the Denver area, and one of the larger private companies in Colorado as well. If you want to go to the next slide. So this talks a little bit about our practice. So like I mentioned, we're a full-service IT firm. We do four main things. We have a business consulting practice, and what I like to think of this as, large-scale, high-level project management, business analysis, requirements gathering, as well as user adoption and change enablement. So for example, for that Salesforce projects we did, there was a lot of change going on. They had an iPad deployment for all of their reps that they were using, and a lot of new technology and new systems require users to be trained and change enablement practices to be implemented. Salesforce is about 40% of our business, and we overlay the business consulting practice with that. We also have a business analytics practice, and which focuses mainly around BI and several back-end tools like Microsoft Power BI and SQL Server, as well as more front-end tools like Burst and Click, and Tableau and these larger front-end tools. We also do system integrations as well. That's one of our key differentiators. So on the architecture side, as I mentioned, we did SAP for this North American manufacturer. We're known to do integrations with Oracle, SAP, and then a lot of in-house custom developed .NET, C#, you name it, integrations with Salesforce and other applications, including business intelligence. As I mentioned, CRM is about 40%. Salesforce is about 40% of our practice, and that also encompasses Service Cloud, Sales Cloud, and then Aptus, which is another partner of ours. And I can talk a little bit about that in the next slide. Or it's actually a slide after that. But so as far as the Statera advantage, you can go back. Sorry. So just a quick note about our balanced methodology. We like to wrap all of our technology and technology projects in sort of a business consulting wrapping paper, if you will. And this includes change enablement, quality assurance, project management, and process analytics. A lot of technology firms only do a very, very good job implementing the technology, but the process, the project management, and the change enablement seems to fall by the wayside. And you can have a really amazing system that does everything you need it to do, but if you don't have people using it, it's pointless. So a little bit more about our partnerships and our CRM practice. If you want to go to the next slide, Allison. So we are official partners with Salesforce.com, Conga, and Aptus. We have approximately 40 consultants in the United States, with the breakdown here: 30% PM change enablement, 40% functional and configurators. I think admin and advanced admin on the Salesforce side. And we also 20% of our developers are 20% of our practice are developers and advanced developer certifications. As I mentioned, one of our key differentiators is the ability to do custom integrations with, big box integrators such as Oracle and SAP, as well as in-house custom developed applications. We have over 30 Salesforce certifications and over 18 Aptus certifications. If you haven't heard of Aptus, they do contract lifecycle management and configure, price, quote tools. So we are one of their second largest partner in doing these implementations, and are continuing to grow. Another key differentiator with Statera is that we are all ITIL certified. So we this, if you haven't heard of ITIL, this encompasses the information technology information library, and what this does is allows our consultants to not only have specialty in Salesforce, but also have a higher level understanding of the practices that go around ITIL and ITIL governance. Our practice leader, Lori Sanders, was with Accenture for the better part of 15 years. She was a director in their CRM practice, and she has experience in a variety of industries and has really been the catalyst to our CRM and Salesforce growth in the last 5 years. If you want to go to the next slide. So who do we serve, and what type of companies do we work with? So we focus mainly on the mid-market and upper mid-market. We really pride ourselves in being able to do, small, quick start implementations. If you're new to Salesforce and you're looking to have a roadmap on, how am I going to use Salesforce in the future, and what are some best practices around Salesforce, to large-scale, full-scale enterprise solutions, as I mentioned in the beginning of this presentation. We're not vertical specific. We have experience in pretty much all the main verticals, everything from financial services all the way to retail. And we're very good at using complementary applications, both on the App Exchange and not. An example, as far as using our integration tools, as I mentioned, that's about 10% of our practice. Informatica Cloud, Cast Iron. I know MuleSoft is a big partner. They're not on here, but very adept at many technology tools and a broad, deep knowledge across our firm. So if you want to go to the next slide. So this is just a little bit more about us. We're headquartered in Denver, as I mentioned. We have offices in Dallas, Phoenix, Salt Lake City, Seattle, Raleigh, and we truly do have clients worldwide. We have, mainly focus in North America, everywhere from New York City to Tulsa, Oklahoma. And we also, another important note, we do have nearshore and offshore delivery centers that we're able to utilize for our larger scale implementations. Feel free to give me a call if you have any additional questions. We're happy to jump on the phone with you and have one of our Salesforce experts talk to you about Conga and the rest of our tools that we use. Thank you, Allison.
Great. Thanks so much, Daniel. That was wonderful to hear more about how you've used Conga and all of the different services that Statera provides. So thank you very much for that. We're going to go ahead and move on and talk with Scott Adams from SalesPath, and he's going to talk about a case study with Bicycle Adventures.
Thank you very much. We have been working with Salesforce for over 8 years, and since the very beginning we started working with Conga. Conga is used today by almost a third of our particular customers. We have over 330 Salesforce customers, mostly in the Pacific Northwest, but also around the country. But we continue to find uses for Conga throughout. We are quite pleased with everything Conga does for our customers, and it actually fits a lot of different use cases and needs out there. Perhaps the most important aspect of using Conga with our customers is we're always looking for ways to make everybody much more productive within the organization by using the CRM. And that usually means automating a lot of things that people today have to do manually or take a lot of work. As I go through this particular use case here for Bicycle Adventures, I think you'll find that the benefits are quite large for them. For each of the different areas in which they're using these, they were saving about 3 to 4 hours per day of somebody's time out there. And so it didn't take long to get the payback on using this particular tool. And what I'm going to be talking a bit about today with the use case here is a tool called Conductor. It's a capability of Salesforce, or rather Conga, that a lot of people are not aware of even there, but we have found it useful for many of our customers to automate a lot of processes, so it really takes no touching at all within the organization to get things out to customers and such. To start out with, let's talk a little bit about Bicycle Adventures, our customer here. They are one of the largest firms in the country that conduct bicycle tours. On any particular calendar year, they conduct over 300 different tours all around the country and internationally. These are kind of high-end tours in which they have first-class lodging at bed and breakfasts and other nice lodges and such. I was up in Glacier National Park this summer and happened to see their van pull up with a group of people at the Mini Glacier Lodge there on a beautiful setting overlooking the lake there. They have, again, very good meals and van support and everything with these tours. The tours, again, are in Washington, Oregon, Idaho, here in the Northwest, and Montana, such as Glacier National Park, throughout the Southwest, California, Hawaii, New York, and so forth. If you want to go ahead and go to the next slide there, Allison, kind of showing the different locations. Because of all these different tours throughout the year, there's a lot of setup, tracking of different people registering for the particular tour. They have guides that need to be notified and set up and provided information along the way. All the different lodges in which they're staying at on a particular trip, which could change in some cases from one particular trip there to the next. So for each of these locations, which they call a tour, they will have various tour dates out there, different sessions, 2, 3, 4 times a year perhaps, in which they're doing the same tour. And sometimes things will change a little bit, but generally there's a lot of things that are done consistently. Go ahead, go on the next slide, please. So the 3 areas of use cases in which we're using Conga Conductor here at Bicycle Adventures. The first one are guide packets, and what this is that they will have 1 or 2 different guides that work for them on a particular tour. The guides are out in the field. They typically have a laptop or an iPad with them. They don't always have the ability while they're riding around to carry a lot of paperwork and so forth with them. And they need to be able to see exactly the latest list of people who are going on the tour. They need to see what the route, if there's any particular route changes, as well as some paperwork things to print out and provide for the guests as they've arrived and so forth with the initial start of the trip there. There's things like survey forms and other things as well that they need to have for a trip. And so what we're using with Conga there is to automatically send them out a packet early on, automatically maybe 30 days before the trip itself. And then just a few days before the trip, they'll send an updated packet in case any additional registrations, things like that, so that they are have everything in hand in one big PDF file that they can take with them and view and need along the way on an iPad, what have you. Very similarly, recently we've implemented lodging packets. The lodging packets go out to each of the different hotels, the lodgings, bed and breakfasts and the like. Multiple people in many cases at each facility that get notified of, okay, well, here's when people are going to be arriving, here are the guests that are going to be there, and here's the room arrangements. We need a double bedroom, here are the 2 occupants in that particular room, things like that. So all that, again, goes out automatically on a scheduled basis, 60, 30, and 10 days or 5 days before the trip starts and so forth. They will get these packets, which is a general PDF file. We're also going to be starting soon on providing the guest packets, in which information about the trip, where do they start from, what's the route of the trip. Interesting enough, a lot of people don't realize with Conga, a lot of this information is stored as PDF files in the upper level tour record. But then we can actually go grab those PDF files that you maybe have a map of the route, things like that. What to bring, if it's a Hawaii trip, you might want to bring a poncho, for example, because some things unique to those particular tours. And we bring those into one big PDF file, as well as information from within Salesforce, so that the customer, the guest in this case, gets a full PDF file with everything in it. And again, that's what to be sent out automatically. So each of these, you know, in the past took a lot of time to prepare. The guide packets were taking approximately 2.5 hours a day of a person's time to put together for the upcoming trips out there, sending out to the different guides. The lodging packets were taking over 3 hours, 4 hours a day for people to do that. So again, the time investment was rather significant. They had to jump right on it a certain number of days before a trip. And now this is all automated so that they don't need to spend that time to make sure things get out to them automatically. And that's what Conductor can do, is on a scheduled basis send this information out. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide, please. So within their particular Salesforce, we have a custom object called a tour. And this would be like a certain Hawaii trip or a San Juan Islands trip, what have you, or a Washington wine country, such as this, which has various attributes about that trip that are going to be pretty consistent from one tour date to the next. Again, there are some things that are attachments at the tour level that we will grab and merge into the PDF files generated to send out to other people. And that's very key. Again, a lot of people realize that you can actually grab different attachment files related to a record up there somewhere, or a parent record, and pull those in and merge those into a particular document. It's kind of cool. In addition, then there's the multiple tour dates. Like for the Washington wine country, we might have a September 15 tour date. And then there are some various reservations. There's also a person account record for individuals. And there's some preferences that these individuals have. What's their height? What's their shoe size? What type of bike do they prefer? Things like that. And those things are brought into the reservation record. So if they went on a bike tour before, they have these preferences, they're automatically brought over. So they do track that. They track the different guides, 1 or 2 guides that might be on a particular tour group for that tour date. They'll track the rooms, who's going to be rooming, which guests are going to be rooming with women, including the guides themselves as well. And then with the lodgings, which lodges are they going to be at, what's the arrival date at each lodge, and so forth. There are some other objects related back here as well, but that's a good starting point. Go ahead and let's go to the next slide, please. So again, what Conga Conductor does is it automatically merges documents together. If we look at the use case here of the lodging packets, what it does, it will go through and look at who within each lodge is to receive a particular package out here for this upcoming tour date. And it will identify from there, from the particular tour record that we pull in from the lodging record. We flag which contacts are to get this. We bring that in, and then they are automatically sent out these packages. Again, you use with Conductor, you actually use a Salesforce report to determine who is to receive this information as an automatic email with attachments. And again, the attachments can include, in this particular case they do, some information perhaps from the parent record as well if necessary. Okay, next slide please. This is just a brief snapshot of a sample, kind of a dummy little tour here, but you see on the tour date it's referencing the Washington Wine Country 2013 tour, has an end date, start date with it, the number of guests. Obviously this is a little demo record, so it's just some things. We do track payments and take payments and everything within the system as well. We'll track various requirements, any special rooming requirements like the king bed, we'll share a room, what have you here, and who the guides are, which lodges they're going to be at, and then for each of the different rooms that they'll need at the lodges, who's in what room. You can have up to 4 guests actually in a particular room sharing there. So this is kind of what the record looks like for the actual tour date that we work off of. Go ahead, next slide please. Within the lodging records, we'll have a page layout and a record type for a lodge called a vendor record here. And you'll notice that under the contacts, we are tracking through who within that particular lodge are to receive these packets. So you see the little checkbox indicating that. Some profile information in the lodge, and then we're also tracking when that particular lodge, of course, has been used on what tour, things like that. Normally they're the same tours, but and they may change a particular lodging if it's full, they don't have enough room available for a particular tour date. Go ahead, next slide, please. So again, the lodging packets are automatically sent to the contacts at the lodging account. It pulls in information such as here are the people, the reservations of the people going on the trip. Here are the particular room arrangements and so forth, and those are sent out automatically by conductor 60 days prior to the start of the tour, 30 days prior to the start of the tour, and again 5 days prior to the start of the tour. They can also, if there's been a recent change prior to the start of the tour, maybe somebody canceled or perhaps there's a new reservation that came in last minute. In those particular cases, they can actually send out another packet out to the same group of people there. Although that's not triggered automatically, they can manually say, go run this by simply going and clicking a button and so forth and running that. Again, there's general instructions for the guest list as well. The other interesting thing when it comes for the guide packets is not only is there kind of okay, here's who's attending, but the profile of each individual person, what their preferences are, what type of, do they need a bike helmet or not, what type of bike do they need, what size of bike, do they need a road bike, for example, do they have any particular preferences on anything out there, were there any issues or problems that they went on a previous tour, and what previous tours have they gone on with you as well. So all that information can be shared back with the guide, and they'll have that information handy. Again, all done automatically, which is really cool because, again, it saves a huge amount of time for everybody. Next slide, please. So I mentioned there again, the guide packets also will include a lot of things like a map and so forth, and then there's some things they can print out such as a guest survey, order forms for bicycle shorts and with a logo on it, things like that. That they want to have all in one place for each of those guides out. Because sometimes a guide they may assign almost last minute there, so here it is, that information ready to go all in one place for them to have. And they have it handy and accessible for them on an iPad, whatever in their field. Next slide, please. So I was going to show a little bit of the guide packet. This kind of gives you an idea of some of the things that kind of, this is just pieces of it here. You'll notice the guest list here that will go through and show each of the different guests as well as the guides that are going on the trip, and then individual profiles for each one of those people and so forth. What sock size they have, saddle, so forth, what's the pickup location, things like that, who are they rooming with. All that's provided for the guide in this packet, and as well as the general information about the particular tour and so forth that's pulled from the Salesforce database. Next slide, please. Okay, so again, we've had a lot of other uses we've used Conductor for. Again, that's one of those little hidden tools out there that you can use in Salesforce. Another tool called Workflow kind of works much like Conductor. Workflow will automatically do tasks, not so much on a scheduled basis, but based upon things. For example, for one customer, we use Workflow that when they win a sales opportunity, it automatically goes through and finds the suppliers for the various products that have been quoted to the customer and places requisitions to the suppliers electronically, automatically. In addition, it automatically sends a customer an invoice from that particular one order, and then sends information off to accounting and so forth, letting me know about the order and others as well. So that works out very well. Other ways we've used this is for renewal billing. We have some customers that have an annual renewal that could possibly change from one particular year to the next, and so it automatically generates up an invoice for that and sends that out 30 days in advance for that renewal period to customers for approval and so forth, much like an invoice and such. We also have a customer who does commercial real estate that is using it for drip marketing or nurture marketing for customers. But interesting, they're sending out letters. They don't want to spam people and so forth out there, so they actually use Conga Conductor to print out letters every day that's set for signature by the various people. What does that merges that together. So there's ability of creating and printing letters at the same time. So just lots and lots of uses. We're always finding creative ways taking advantage of that. So while Conga Composer itself is a wonderful tool, and we find lots of uses for generating contracts, proposals, and the like out there, Conductor takes it to that next step to automatically do things so things don't slip through the cracks. Again, we work with probably more new Salesforce customers every year than anybody here on the West Coast. We'll probably work with 55 to 60 new Salesforce customers this year, and like I said, about a third of these people end up using sooner or later the Conga product. We find it very, very helpful over people are trained how to use it. And we provide a lot of best practices and so forth along the way. If you need to reach out to me, there's my name there, Scott Adams, and there's my email address and phone number. If you need some help on Conga, if you need help, we also have a refresh program for people who are already using Salesforce, like many of you are, and need maybe get some best practices in there, find ways to take better advantage of the tool. That's what Refresh program does, and we do that with people throughout the country. We'll probably start up 2 or 3 new Refresh projects every month here. So.
Okay. Well, great. Thank you so much, Scott. That was wonderful. We loved hearing about the dynamic complex solutions that you can do with Conga. That was a great example, and also showing, you know, the time savings and accuracy that you can achieve with Conga. That was wonderful. Thank you. And now I'm also ready to grab my bike and head to Washington wine country. So thanks very much. So everybody, to connect with our partners, we'd like to again recap Statera, Daniel Kahn. There is his contact information right there, and SalesPath, Scott Adams. You have some great options there for Salesforce configuration, of course Conga work, and much beyond that. So these are partners that we work with and trust and love, so please reach out to them as you need them. Also, if you guys decide to get started on your own, please remember we do have resources, documentation, Conga University, quick start videos, webinars at congasphere.com. We also have several videos on YouTube, and of course anytime you can pick up the phone and give us a call wherever and whenever you want. So thank you very much for attending, and we hope to see you next time at our partner showcase.